Yo, what's cracking, my people? Welcome to yet another episode of ADQ'S Renaissance. I'm your host with the most, keeping 100 from coast to coast. Through God, I boast. ADQ. Let me take off this daggone head, man. I look weird. It is Monday, September the 29th, 2020. And I got on yellow. How I look, ladies? I look good, don't I? It's like my hair is getting longer. So it's Monday night. It's Monday night. So y'all know what's going on. We are going to be talking about the theater. Yes. So let's go ahead and bring in my people who are going to be chitting and chatting it up with me. You know what I'm saying? Ladies and gentlemen, joining us from the QC. Everybody, please welcome Mr. Richard Taylor. How you doing? Rick?
All right, ADQ, how are you?
Doing great. Thank you for joining us. Here's a great fact about Richard, my people. Not only is he killing it in the rehearsals as Grandpa Ray in Aprenda Español, but he's actually the first person who I've ever cast. Ooh. Historical. How you doing, Ray? How you doing, Rich?
I'm good. I'm really good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely, man. Sure, great actor like yourself. I'm sure you do these interviews all the time.
No, not often.
Now, also joining us all the way from India. That's right, my people. I said India. Please welcome Mr. Stephen S. George. Stephen, how you doing, sir?
Hi, I'm really good. How are you?
Doing great, man. Doing great. You know, me and Richard and Alex, we here in North Carolina. We just doing great theater. You're doing great theater over there, so that it is a beautiful thing. And also,
of course, it's a beautiful thing.
And also joining me, you know, this brother here, he's kind of like a on again, off again co-host. You know, he's kind of like a partner with me in this. Please welcome all the way from the 919, Mr. Alex Lewis. Alex, how you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm good. How's everybody doing? Sorry, I'm like multitasking.
Multitask, that's what we theater people do. We multitask. The better Milton. In the midst of your multitasking, you're kind of breaking up, sir. And he's frozen. It's okay.
Oh, is that better?
We can hear you, but you're still frozen.
Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second.
It's all good. One of the greatest theatrical pieces ever was Frozen. Get it? Also joining us tonight will be Miss Javetta Milton. She's had a bit of a automobilic issue occur, so she will be joining us a little later. Now, I'm gonna run down a list, and I want you all to tell me what got you in the theater, what's your proudest moment, and what are you doing right now?
Actually, you're still there, right?
What? Alex, are you being theatrical and talking to yourself? Okay, moving on. So, like I said, what do you do? What's your contribution to the theater, and what got you in? Starting with you, Richard.
Well, I started doing theater about 40 years ago when I was in high school and in college, and dropped off for a long time till my daughter motivated me to get back in. There was a play they were doing here in Charlotte about 5 years ago, A Miracle Worker. And she said to me, "Dad, they got an old guy part there. Why don't you audition?" And lo and behold, we both auditioned, we both got on, and 20 plays later, it's an addiction. I can't stop. So I've been doing a lot of work here in Charlotte, primarily over the last 5 years. Musical theater, straight theater. I also do some voiceover work. I'm originally from South America, so I do primarily Spanish stuff. And so I'm really appreciate you getting me involved in this, because I've only done a couple of Latinx pieces, but I'm looking forward to doing a lot more. So
I'm grateful to have you. You are currently still on the show right now, sir. But don't tell any other cast members I said that.
keep it between us. Yeah.
Yeah, just between me, you, and Steven. Steven, I am quite sure that it is a very artistic scene over in India. What got you started in theater?
So yeah, I'm right now doing a PhD in the Department of English from a Central University in New Delhi. And apart from that, I'm practicing theater as a director, scriptwriter, dramaturg, and sometimes a scenographer in India.
Nice. So what got you started?
What kind of? I'm sorry.
What got you started in doing theater?
So yeah, I started doing theater during my graduation. It was during my undergrad I started it, and it is very unusual, but yeah, it began with street theater. If you're aware about street theater, it was more like a Brechian kind of a technique in which we were doing street theater in colleges, doing political plays mostly and socially relevant plays for the college. And it's during my undergrad, and then I continued it to my master's, and right now I'm pursuing my PhD, and I'm still doing theater.
So Alex, now that you're back with us, what got you started in theater? You already told the story before, but for those who didn't watch last week, please share.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that, guys. What got me started in theater? I don't even remember what I said last week, but we're gonna go with this.
Go with this.
What got me started in theater? I just happened to see like artists like Shakira and Britney Spears and Michael Jackson and some other entertainers, and they got me inspired. And finally, when I came to the state, I was able to get into the theater arts, and it's that kind of weird feeling to describe of once you're on stage and how you feel, and you're like you get the audience feedback. It's just an indescribable feeling. So yeah, and yeah. Sorry, I'm literally multitasking right now because I'm hearing somebody else in here, but go ahead.
It is all good. That's what we theater people do best. We multitask. So what got me in the theater, y'all, we all know about how, the bug bit me when I was in 4th grade. When I was like 7 years old. I was watching little musicals at my school. But very few people know is what brought me back in the theater when I was knee deep into Christian rap, Christian hip hop. Yo, one day I was just, sitting down, watching TV, just chilling and stuff. And then all of a sudden I see 6 people going, 525,600 minutes. I'm like, what the heck? What the that? Yo, you know what I'm saying? That happened. And I was like, I have to get involved in this. And so, like a year later, I watched a Black Theater Festival play over in Winston-Salem, Trey Foe in the building. And I meet Bill Cobbs. For those who don't know the name, shame on you. He killed Wesley Snipes at the end of New Jack City. He was the coach of Air Bud. He was in episodes of Design Winning. He was in the most recent installment of Oz, the James Franco Oz. You know what I'm saying? He's done things. I met him. He looked at and I asked him, "Sir, Mr. Cobbs, how can I have a long, illustrious career in acting like you do, sir?" He looked me right in my eye and he said, "ADQ, stay in the theater." and I like to think that, and that was 2005. I like to think that ever since I've I've taken his advice. Now, well, I want to talk about putting stories on stage. I want to talk about the background work because Rick, you know how you have experienced some of my meticulous ADHD Virgo directing, right? And and you know how I like to find the background of the story and whatnot, the background of the character. Personally, what I respect about dramaturgs, Stephen, is how in a lot of cases the story starts with y'all. Would you agree? Like in other words, when it comes to setting the time, the place, the look of the show, right? Isn't that what dramaturgs do? Tell people specifically what dramaturgs do, please, sir.
Yeah, should I start?
Did you catch that?
Yeah, so uh, there are many functions which dramaturgs do, which are very separate from, like, some of the specific elements of theater is the part where a playwright comes in, a director comes in, and the actor. Most of the people don't know where the dramaturg comes in. So for me, I think the dramaturg comes in with the question of why. Why are you doing this? Why is this point like this? Why this gesture needs to be like this? And all those questions. So it is more lot of lot about contextualizing the play, the setting of the play, and somehow following some ground rules of the play. And it is more of the discussion with the playwright and the director, how they are imagining the play, how they are thinking that this should be delivered and the audience should get this. Sometimes the director or the playwright might forget what his or her objective was, but the dramaturg's role is to remind them every time at every juncture that this is how it needs to be done, this is how the establishment of connection needs to be done, and this is how you had imagined, this is how you have departed, maybe this is how somebody can come back. And for me, I think the specific part in that is somebody can tell in a play after watching a play, or maybe somebody who has, like, a friend coming to visit to just see a rehearsal, he or she might tell you that something is a bit bland in the play, something is not working fine. The dramaturg's role is to find how to make it correct, how to make it fine, and that's where the dramaturg comes in.
Rick, I'm pretty sure that you in your illustrious theatrical career, you've had moments like that where a dramaturg came in and said, it has to be like this. No, 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 no. They were not wiping their nose with their left hands in 1956. Make what do you think? Did you ever have to like? Did you ever have an experience like that with
Yeah,
a dramaturg?
I think it's it's always important to learn as much as you can about the period of the play, the year in which it takes place, the history and so forth. I don't always have dramaturgs in the play that I've done, so oftentimes I will Google the first play I did, Miracle Workers, a true life story about Helen Keller, and the part I played was a historical figure. So it was important for me to get familiar with who the man was historically, the time that he lived in, the relationships that he had, and as Stephen just said, because it informs where I'm coming from, where I'm going to, what's going on in the moment. I did a play a couple of years ago called Pearly Victorious, which takes place in Alabama in the 60s. And we had a dramaturg there who spent a lot of time talking about the race relations starting back in the 1890s And after people the slaves were freed, they became they worked. What is it called? When they farm the land, but they don't own the land. Uh,
Reconstruction, emancipated. No,
no, what I'm talking about is that people who after slaves are free, they were
sharecropping.
yeah, sharecroppers. And so it was important to understand that history to be able to understand, what was going on in the moment in which this play was taking place. And so the dramaturg was very helpful in that instance. Precisely because of what Stephen was saying. So yeah, it is. But when you don't have the luxury of having one, I think as an actor, it's important to do as much research as you possibly can. To do as you direct us to do in terms to find out what our motivation is. In this particular play that you wrote, the reason why I like it so much is because it speaks to a lot of my own personal experience living in LA and also having experienced issues of people not necessarily understanding you coming from a different culture. You talk about the issues about Mexicans and African Americans. Oftentimes people have a hard time understanding that I'm Latino because I look so Anglo. You know what I mean? So oftentimes there are judgments that happen. But anyway, I'm digressing. The point.
No. This goes into the work of the play because you have to find a relatability with the character, right?
Yeah, right. And Ray is me, believe it or not. You know what I mean? It's who I am. I'm not, my daughter's only 21 years old, so I'm not a patriarchal grandpa yet, but I tend to play one a lot. I guess, I don't know why that is, man. I guess I'm just a good actor. I don't know. I don't know why I keep getting cast in old guy roles. I must be something about my look. I can't tell.
That and the fact that you are just so great to work with.
Well, thank you.
So, Stephen, I know that like finding like the background of a play, finding like the world of a play and stuff, it could be a bit of a challenging task. I would like to ask you, what was your most challenging piece that you worked on?
My most challenging piece I worked on was a production with National School of Drama, which I did it in Delhi under Young Theatres Director Program. So the play was titled as Space. It was a play based on the lives of refugees, specifically Rohingya Muslims from Myanmar. It was based on their lives and their struggles, how a refugee reaches a new country, their lives and turbulence. Now the catch in this play is I was the director of the play, and I decided that it will be totally speechless. There will be no single dialogue in the play. And there were people who were suggesting things and all, but I decided that I'll be the dramaturg for the play as well. So I, at every juncture, I was thinking, how do I make those symbolic references through gestures? In a country with, because we are setting the play in India, in New Delhi, which have no connection with Myanmar or their clothes or anything. So how do I communicate the language with them? Because the audience will be mostly people from India. There will be hardly any refugee in that. Despite that thing, how that play connected to the people, and it happened like there was a symbol of the key which was central to the play. Like every time the key would pop up in the play, and the key would be a gesture of leaving something, holding something. So it was a deliberate and involuntary choice of something like memory and forgetting, how they are forgetting still remembering through that key. Interestingly, it was one of the audience member who came and told me that India too has a very strong sense of migration or a refugee crisis which happened in 1947 during the India and Pakistan partition. So there were a lot of people from Pakistan who came to India, and there were many people who went. It was more than 1 million of people traveling from this border to that border and from there to here. So how there is something, it's like a box, a huge box, it's called Sandu in Hindi. So how that became a very strong symbolic reference, and the key itself became a strong reference. And he showed me, he was himself from a family which traveled from Pakistan to India during that crisis. And he said that even we hold a key in our home, a key to a home which will never be home again, but still we hold that key with us. So in that process, to think of that play, of that references, and to like produce it in 2019, it was a really difficult challenge. But however, it was a very short play. It was not a very long play or something. Despite those challenges, it was one of the most successful plays in my life.
Wow. You know, I learned this from a young lady who I used to teach in a preschool class. She was also a refugee, right? A refugee from Uganda. She's nonverbal, right? Nonverbal. She could say a couple words, but as far as carrying on full-fledged conversation like me and you are having right now, that's not right. She's not available to do that right now. But I learned that sometimes the most strongest forms of communication comes without words, right?
Yeah.
If I'm in New Delhi, you know what I'm saying? If I'm in New Delhi, sitting there watching that piece and not hearing any dialogue go on, I'm still going because I think, and I'm going to see if Alex agrees with me. Alex, I think, and I would like to see, and I would like to get your take on it, Alex. I think that
Yes,
some of the best acting is done without words. What do you think, Alex?
I agree. I agree. It got you. It's more it's more profound, and I agree with you on that because it's kind of it give you more to figure it out instead of going with the words. It give you more it give you more of like an expansion, if you know what I mean, in the sense of like it can be seen and perceived in many different ways.
Yeah, like I remember during my UNCG days, right? They had this show on campus
Hmm.
called, I think it was Pink and Purple. No, that's my friend M. Man's play. Purple and Blue. It was the two main characters were colors. Okay, so um, there was no dialogue in it except for the narrator, right? But it was continuous action, continuous action, continuous action, and I was completely absorbed into the play as a whole. When I first heard of it, I thought it was some corny little kid show. No, it was not that at all. No, it was kids would enjoy it, but it reminded me of cartoons. You know what I'm saying? Um. So Alex, I gotta ask you, what has been your experience been? What's your experience been with dramaturgy? Nice shirt, by the way. Go Tar Heels.
Sorry, sorry. My experience with dramaturg, it, it, I have had a few plays with one. I know that I mentioned this one on last week was with Vent, the one that I tell you that I was playing in that cigar.
Oh yeah.
So with that one, we had a
Hold, Alex, real quick. Tell
yeah.
Steven and Rick about Bent from your perspective. Go.
Well, if you read the whole show, it's it, sorry. In my perspective, it was one of those. It was a difficult character because I play German Nazi guard, and I technically in the show I killed I kill one of the lead characters. It's kind of like a love story between these two guys that are in like a camp, uh, and they happen to be Jewish. My experience with it was kind of I wouldn't say traumatizing. It was more difficult as an actor to play those roles because it's like the completely opposite of me. Um, but it changed me to the point that I did such a great job that my friends that happens to be Jewish left the theater kind of, you know, they literally left the theater just petrified and scared and upset because of the history aspect of that. But it just changed me because I was able to be someone completely different from what I am. And we have a stage fight too that it took kind of forever for me to get it right because I was so concerned about like the other actor. But it completely changed me because if you look at me, I could do like any other like, you know, African American characters. I have the question asked to me that is kind of like, was there like actual Black German Nazis in there? I'm not completely sure, but I was the first one in the show, and it was a difficult show. It was really difficult for me, in my experience.
Dramaturgical research would allow one to know whether or not there were any Black Nazis, but I think it's a accurate assumption that there weren't any. Yeah, Hitler didn't like black people very much.
There weren't any Aryan Black people that I'm aware of.
No, but so personally, I'm thinking from what you said, Stephen, what you have done is something that all of us actors should do because not all of us always have the luxury of a dramaturg to say, okay, they did not black dudes did not wear locks in 1967, which I'm sure someone was, but anyway, um excuse me. Rick, outside of the world of Aprenda Espanol, you touched on it a little bit earlier. What is like your preparation process for a role? Like, how do you learn your character?
I always read the play.
That's
Uh,
that's a good idea. Reading the play, yeah.
it's real important to be familiar with the play, obviously. And then, you know, as I mentioned earlier, I do research on when the play takes place, where it takes place. I've, you know, oftentimes been, recently I did Oliver, and I've played Jacob Marley in A Christmas Carol, where these plays take place in the 1850s and in when I did Oliver, when I did Jacob, when I did Christmas Carol, I also had to play Old Joe, and the learning of the different accents, you know, because English in England has a variety of accents too. You know, Cockney is different from High Register, different from, you know, so there was a lot of work that needed to be done in terms of portraying the character truthfully. You know, to me, it's real important that when I play a role, I'm being truthful to the character. Acting is not imitation. To me, it's a form of possession. You know, I mean, I become that character, and so I devote a lot of time, you know, in the rehearsal process to fine tuning and learning where I'm coming from, where I'm going to, what my relationships are with the people, and I'm a director's actor in the sense that, you know, I let the director direct me, and I'm a collaborationist, and together we all, you know, find the person that I am. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah,
I know what I'm talking about.
I mean that's what people do on podcasts. They talk a lot, and that's what podcasts are for. But yeah, like here's something that I would tell any up and coming brand new actor or director or anyone who's new to this, right? Anyone who is stepping into a university or an acting class or daggone internship uh, or a community theater, anybody who's doing this for the first time, I'm like, get this out your spirit right now. You are not pretending. You are telling a story. This story, either if it's like completely biographical, or if it's like completely fictional, like like a whole civilian of people stand on their heads communicating each other with bzzz all daggone day. Either way, it's a story. Respect the story by knowing the story. You have to make sure to know the story. Otherwise, you will be ill prepared in all ways possible. Excuse me. I'm over here digesting smoothie, coffee, and daggone water. Crazy combination, right? Um, you have to know the story, and you have to be devoted to a key word that you said, Richard: collaboration. You know what I'm saying? To do theater by yourself, you can't even do a one-man show by yourself. Someone's got to handle the lights. Someone's got to play the music. Someone's got to do the directing, unless you do the directing yourself. You know, you have to submit yourself fully to collaboration. Like in our piece that we're working on, Aprende Español. I had my vision going into this, but I knew that I was going into this with six, seven actors who know more about the Hispanic culture than I do, who know more about the Latinx culture than I do. So if y'all have any tips to throw my way as the writer and director, I'm like, yeah, tell me a little something, because I'm interested in learning other cultures, and I think theater is an incredible medium to teach those cultures. Do you think? I'm saying this with a panel of a Panamanian brother, an Indian brother, a Brazilian, El Salvadorian. Which one?
Yeah, I'm American father, Salvadorian mother, born in Brazil. So American.
Yeah. I'm saying this. I was just gonna say this real quick. I'm not going to go completely in politics, but yeah, I think that if President Trump was sat into a theater and seen plays go on that highlight the lives of our respective cultures, that would maybe take away from some of the ignorant out of views that he has on them. Maybe, possibly, who knows? But I know that theater is very educational. With all that being said, Richard and Alex, me and y'all, I know how theater goes on in Winston-Salem and Greensboro. You know, you do a lot of theater in Charlotte. Alex does a lot of theater in Triangle. But Steven, you're not only out of the state, you're out of the daggone country. You in India. What does the theater scene in India look like? Like what? How does it operate in comparison to the theater scene here in America?
I think one of the most primary fact about theater in India is in India, theater is a tradition, a ritual, a performance in all senses, and it is being practiced here for more than 2000 years. Like the first, uh, I believe the first sense of dramaturgy, if Aristotle's poetics was there in the Greek, in the European paradigm, there was Aristotle with his poetics, which was a classification of drama and dramatic rules and all the things. Here it was Bharat Muni with Natya Shastra. So Natya Shastra is basically the rules or the set of principles to be followed during while practicing drama. And it is so extensive and it is completely encyclopedic. It is a huge volume of book, and it was written. It was mainly orally transmitted, but it was in 500 BC, while it is said to be like orally transmitted. So one of the fact is that Natya Shastra is like the Bible for us in India. When people are following the rules of acting for drama and all these things, so it is more over like a classical play, what we call as classical theater in India. Then there is folk culture. So in a country which has like more than 2000 languages, there is a strong sense of folk theater. So in folk theater, it is very distinguished from each and every state. There is a very different culture of drama, which is theater. So it's called as tamasha. It's known as nautanki. Then there is in Kerala, there is Tayyam, and all these forms of different forms of drama. From Assam, it is very different. So our theater culture itself is very different. Now, these are all the traditional forms of art which are transmitted through traditional roles only. There are no particular set defined books on these, but these are orally transmitted to disciples. It's like a guru shishya parampara, or like a collaborative or a collective sense of feeling. Now, then coming to the modern theater, what we know as modern theater. So it was around 1952 or something that the Sangeet Natak Academy and the National School of Drama were formalizing. And it is during that time people went to RADA and studied Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. So people had come back from there. And then there was a huge sense of like modern theater was introduced. So Brecht, Beckett, and all these were being done in India. At Osborne and all these plays of these people, that was also being done. Now that was something around 1990s. Now we have now what we can say is we have a lot of things in the platter when we go towards theater. There is post-dramatic theater, then there is modern theater, there is avant-gardist theater, folk theater, classical theater. Like, it is very huge. It's very huge. This can be a small, not even a summary, but a small indication towards it.
Here in America, they say if you want to if you want to make money, don't do theater. It sounds like that is the perception of theater in India is quite different from that. Like, it sounds like, sounds like y'all hold theater in the ultimate reverence of which is supposed to be held in India, right?
It's something like, I can say, like, we call it the theater for the folk theater and all these things. We call it as the theater of the roots. So holding on to the roots is a very important fact in that. It's like a cultural thing. It's a traditional thing, and that's how it is practiced. Moreover, and it is like it is passed on in the family, in the community, and onwards. And very different from the set that there is not a singular kind of theater, but a very pluralistic theater in India. And trust me, money is another problem in theater. People are starving. That's like a universal fact.
Well, one way, one way, one way that theater serves as what's the word I'm looking for? So one way where theater serves as beneficiary is one can write shows about people who are starving. One can, or someone who is starving, something about going out on stage and, you know, doing your thing, acting, performing while you're starving, I don't know, it just replaces the hunger with butterflies because you're out there telling a story. You're part of something that's bigger than yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
And
does.
I have another question for you.
All right.
My question is, say I wanted to hit up New Delhi
All right.
and become part of the theater scene. How would me being a black guy, how would I be received?
Like you'll be received with I think there won't be any kind of alienation towards you. It's not the same over here. There might be places where it might happen, but not in New Delhi, because New Delhi is the capital of the country. And being a cosmopolitan space of 2 crore people, there are 2 crore people who live in, which is 20 million. 20 million people reside in Delhi. Most of them are not locally from New Delhi. Many of them are migrant workers. There are a lot of refugees in the capital. Then there are a lot of foreigners who have come for their like traveling, studies, and many other things. And there are a lot of central universities in New Delhi, so it won't be like you'll have a problem. And especially if you walk to a place called Mandi House. So Mandi House is the capital of theater in the capital. So it's a place where you'll meet a lot of characters. Frankly, you'll not meet people over there. It will be more like meeting a lot of characters, because everybody over there, because it's the hub of theater. There are many theater institutions over there, theater like auditoriums and all, and everybody is like in search of a director. All these actors are in search of a director. Like there are people who do not talk like we are in a casual conversation. They'll talk like there is some Shakespearean scene over there, like, and in a very different zone. Like they'll sit like this and they'll talk like this. They'll imagine there will be hat, there will be the costume will be very different. It's like you can see live theater on the streets of Mandi House. That's something. That's something about Mandi House.
I
So trust me.
Monday House. We yeah, I'm putting that down. I do have my passport. Okay, you know what? I'm inspired now. I might conduct the next rehearsal saying, Richard, I need you to play grandfather like this. You know. Oh, dang, I'm giving away spoilers. My bad. But I will definitely check that out. Shakespeare, though. Let's talk a little bit about Shakespeare. I don't like Shakespeare at all. No. But I'm pretty sure people have different interpretations. I want to get each of y'all's opinions. What you think about Shakespeare, and who is your favorite writer? Starting with you, Stephen.
Oh, starting with me. Like first of all, like coming, my background training is in the English department. So I'm a person of English literature. So Shakespeare is of great interest for me. Now I my life cannot survive without Shakespeare. How and there are many opinions. It's about Shakespeare. I think this will be my opinion on him. Like it's not that we have to say that he has uh, uh, the greatest playwright ever or something like that, but the voluminous and the volume of his productions, the plays he produced, and the conflict and the sense of drama he had in it, I think it's incredible. Something which is very, very conceptual, very intellectual, and I think very timely, especially especially towards the end when he's producing, like, what's his last play, the Tempest and all, where the Jewish merchants are coming in. Then there is idea of moving towards the island, the colonization concept, and many other things. And So I like the conflict part in it. I like it, but there can be a huge a very different sense of discussion and debate on the same.
Mm-hmm.
Now coming to my uh, like favorite writer, I'll tell you one thing, like something which encapsulates me in a drama centrally is the emotion. Like, of course, the politics, the social thing, the writing part, the dialogues, everything is very important. But a play without emotions is not a play.
Nah.
That's a strong opinion. And that's however I feel, because emotion becomes central to theater, and everything can be on spot. But for emotion to bring in, that is where the collaborative the experience of theater has to thrive itself. Especially that's where the dramaturg has to put in a lot of effort, and the director with the actors. That's one of the question, like you messaged me, and that's when I was thinking, like, what does the dramaturg does with the actor? So that's something which I have. And somebody I like a lot in writing part, it's Bertolt Brecht and Dario Fo.
For I want you to know, I 100% agree with you. Without passion, without, I think that's what you just said. You said without passion, there's no show, right?
Emotion, without emotion.
Emotion. My bad.
Yeah.
I agree. Emotion. It doesn't have to always be I am talking like this. You could be channeling that emotion in multiple ways. Either way, very integral to carry out a particular narrative. Richard.
Uh, to be real honest with you, I've always been very intimidated by Shakespeare, you know.
Me too. That's why I don't like him. Forget you, Willie.
Yeah, and it challenges. Um, the most nerve-wracking part of acting for me is the memorization aspect, going back to the truth of the character, and I'm very intimidated by the dialogue. Now, what's interesting to me about Shakespeare is that Shakespeare is actually the street language of Shakespeare's time. It's not actual, it's not the King's English. It's actually rap for the time of Shakespeare. People are talking like they were talking on the street in those days, and so it intimidates me because I'm not familiar with it. But it's something that I find challenging and would like to work more on. My favorite Shakespeare play is Midsummer Night's Dream. And the reason why it is because my daughter was in it, and she played Peter Quince in it. And I was amazed by it's like a play within a play within a play. It was, I really enjoyed that play a lot too. I recently did, again, 2 or 3 years ago, I auditioned for Shakespeare in Love, which I don't know if you're familiar with Shakespeare in Love. It's a satire about, William Shakespeare. It's fiction, but again, it really deals with what I'm talking about, the historical aspect of what was going on with the globe and with how the people at the time thought of theater. It was basically for the people. It wasn't something that the cultured class did. Although Queen Elizabeth really liked it, so she did a lot for the preservation of it. I ended up doing Beckett instead, but that's always been a play that I've wanted to do is Shakespeare in Love, as a segue or sort of entrance into taking that giant leap and attempting to do some Shakespeare myself someday before I die.
You will. You will do Shakespeare and one day, and you will exceed all personal expectations. Alex, come on. What's been your experience with old Billy Shakes?
Sorry. Now I'm literally all yours now because I finished my other call. I
Great.
don't really like Shakespeare. I'm sorry. I don't really like Shakespeare.
Well, y'all hear
I
what I think
mean,
about Shakespeare.
I really, I mean, I respect everybody who likes him. I recently did Venus and Adonis before the whole COVID thing. It was like we have like a stage reading, and I mean, and that's probably the only Shakespeare play that I like because I was on it, like Rick said about his daughter. But I just don't really like Shakespeare. I'm sorry. I'm not like I don't see the whole. It doesn't catch my attention as everybody else in theater. I mean, eventually, maybe one day. Uh, but no, as of now, no, not really. It's
Okay.
not my jam. I,
Okay. Okay. So I gotta correct you real quick. See, I don't like Shakespeare either. Shakespeare can kiss it. Um, I do
okay.
I do Shakespeare plays because I feel like acting in Shakespeare plays will help me stretch myself, heighten my ability. You know what I'm saying? To me, the greatest writer to have ever existed on planet Earth is August Wilson. You don't get no better than August Wilson to me. August Wilson is to me what Shakespeare is to a lot of my theater friends. Personally, I think that the man was either high or sexually deprived when he was writing a lot of his stuff. Um, but I will say I like A Midsummer Night's Dream because that I like A Midsummer Night's Dream also because I portrayed Theseus in it, and that was the play where I was like, yeah, 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 Shakespeare, you got me, bow, I got you, yeah, how you like that? Yeah, thank you to Carmen Deese for carrying me in that play, but yeah, also I like Much Ado About Nothing because before COVID hit, I was supposed to be in the production of Much Ado About Nothing. I was supposed to be Baraccio. Man, I was excited to do that too because I looked at Much Ado About Nothing, and all of a sudden this Saturday night TNT drama, the possibility of it being like a Saturday night TNT romantic romantic comedy or whatever kept playing in my head, and I was like, well, shoot, Baraccio's like he's not like the top butthole in this, but he's like a really close number two. I look forward to playing that guy, and also just let everybody know who is viewing this. Um, we are expecting Javetta Milton. She may not be able to come through because there has been a bit of a accident, vehicularly speaking. Is that even the word? Heck, I'm a writer. We writers, we make up words, right? Um, but if she does come through, I will tell y'all about Javetta. I've done several plays with her. Javetta, great actress, and she is the director's actress because she takes direction very, very well. Like I've acted with her in her first play. I've in I've acted with her in a play where you know we got like a big brother, we got like a little brother, big sister type relationship. Um, but she was just sitting in her space, right? She wouldn't say anything. She was she was getting she was getting herself in the character. She was pulling deep. You know what I'm saying? She was applying a Stanislavski method of where you put yourself into your character. You pull deep from ghosts, demons, whatever of the past, and put that into your character to affect your performance. I saw her doing that. I'm like, dang. Also, I remember once we were in a play where I had to talk the most junk to her, and like my crazy side was enjoying that because I'm like, yo, all stage, She's like my big sister. I love her, but on stage I'm being a straight butthole to her. That's the part about theater that I love is when I get to be someone who is completely not like me, right? And I get to step into the skin of someone that sheds all Adrianisms, right? Does that make sense? Now,
Yeah.
Yes,
Stephen, we've been
it does.
talking a lot. We've been talking a lot about your dramaturgical work, some of your directorial work. You've acted too, right?
Yeah, I've acted too.
I mean, what have you act? What's your favorite role that you performed in?
uh, like I've not acted in last 2 to 3 years. I'm not wishing to act much, but yeah, I've acted in roles, and I'll tell you something about a character which I like a lot. It's about it's the character's name is Supanwa, and the play is named titled as Savarnu. So it's like an ensemble production by university students. So during my undergrad, I did this play, and is uh, this character resembles a Dalit character. So in India, Dalit is was considered to be an untouchable caste for 2000 years or so. It was not allowed for them to study, to educate themselves, to have the right to their land or anything. It was a very exploited and oppressed caste, and it was due to the caste system in India. These kind of sanctions were happening, and they were the most deprived. So it was only after India became independent in 1947, and due to the great role of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who was the law minister and the head of the constitution, who made the constitution of India, because of which untouchability was abolished from India, and after that, and it was the right to equality was instated. So before that, the Dalit caste couldn't even enter the temples. They couldn't drink water from a well, which the upper caste, mostly Brahmins and Thakurs, would drink. Now, this play was set in 2000. It was more or less set in the contemporary period. So we did it in 2016-17. So it was set somewhere in 17, and it was showing how till today that untouchability is being practiced both in the village and in the city. It's just that the form of exploitation and oppression has changed, because the constitutional rights are there. So it was a character who is innocent, and it is due to his innocence he asks few questions. He asks questions about where are we in the history, and that is a character which made me go very deep inside to both the idea of India, where the idea of India comes from, and second to the idea of the body, because it is untouchability is practiced like something like one cannot see them, one cannot touch them, and all. So how does your body reflects that thing when you belong to a caste which is considered to be untouched for thousands of years? And it's more like that innocent character has come into the age. It is more a character who is realizing that how this exploitation is working on in the hands of the Brahman Thakurs and Banyas, through both the caste system in India and capitalism, of course. So how still today it is being practiced. So getting into that role and understanding that role, it was a very different kind of a process and practice for me, because it was that experience that has changed a lot of things in my life. And today, in fact, my PhD research is somewhat in the same area.
Mm.
So yeah.
you know, it's hearing all that made that I'm starting to find myself getting tired of doing little cornball, cheeseball, comedic type plays with no substance, right? And I'm like, yo, let me go for something more meatier, more meatier, like that has historical value in it. Alex, um, excuse me, I know you're from Cary, right?
Not originally, but I live in
Where you
Cary.
originally from again?
You don't know what? No, just
I mean,
kidding.
I know you're Panamanian, but are you actually from Panama?
Yeah, I was born right there.
I mean, shoot, Richard here, he's El Salvadorian, but he was born in Brazil.
So you can be whatever you want to be.
Okay, I want to be a billionaire. Can I be that?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so hearing Stephen tell that story about hearing Stephen tell that story about laws and political effects that took place in India and stuff. Do you ever find yourself wanting to introduce a story like that about Panama to an American audience?
Um, I know that a few years back there was some musical that I hear about actually about like Panama. It was like called Panama the musical. Uh, yeah, I
Here
didn't pay
in
too much.
Panama.
I didn't pay too much attention to it because it was produced by an American writer and producer that lived back home. But really good. It seems really good. But if I have to explain that to an American audience, I probably will not be the writer because there's so much history to put into one production, and it will probably be like a 2 hour show with the whole thing because like every single person that I almost as soon as they meet me, either they have no idea or no clue where Panama is, or they confuse it with Panama City, Florida, or they're like, oh, there's a canal in there. So I think I will obviously implement the Panama Canal. Um, I don't know. While you guys were talking, I was gonna ask you all a question. I'm like, so are you guys getting inspired with this whole COVID thing? Are we gonna do like a 2020 type of show or anything that you guys have been working on with this whole situation that we have going on? And I know I kind of skipped the question that you asked me because I am not a writer, but yeah.
Well,
And it's open for anyone.
well, so you say you're not a writer, but if you ever find
Mm-hmm.
yourself talking to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
if you ever find yourself making up lies to yourself, you're a writer, sir. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Richard, do you think you got any do you think you got any writer juices inside of yourself?
I don't know if I have the patience to sit down and write a whole play. I'm too impatient. You see my Facebook, so I tend to write two or three pointed sentences, and I uh, yeah, try to economize as much words as I can. I do want to mention something to Stephen's point about the untouchables in India and how, if I understood you correctly, playing one of those characters impacted you or affected you. And it got me thinking about homeless people in the United States in terms that they're invisible. You know what I mean? People don't even know they're there. They just walk right by them. And it got me thinking what it would be like to play one of those type of characters in a play. You know, a homeless person, which is a human being, they're alive, they got, they have a history, they came from somewhere, they have mothers and fathers and so forth, but to the rest of society, they're like the untouchables. You know, they're invisible. And I think, you know, there's a story there. Uh, Sometimes, though, I think the difficult part in writing a story about that sort of thing is that it becomes uncomfortable for the audience, you know, because it's an uncomfortable subject. So the key is to to be able to write something like that that engages and interests an audience. Right before COVID hit, I was cast in A Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
Mm-hmm.
And we rehearsed all the way up to tech. And that's when, you know, the proverbial poop hit the fan, and we had to suspend the production. We did everything right up to the last minute. And that's a very, very interesting play because, you know, the script that we used for it also included some dramaturgy in it. And I don't know if y'all were aware, but this play had 3 different versions that were staged. And it was because the first rendition that Tennessee Williams wrote just wasn't considered commercial enough because it was an uncomfortable subject, and it was due to the influence of Elia Kazan, the director, that convinced them to do some changes in the script, which is difficult, as I'm sure you would understand as a playwright, to allow someone else to, you know, give their input on what they think how you should rewrite this play. But by following Elia Kazan's advice and bringing Big Daddy into the last scene, it made it a commercial success. However, he still rewrote it a 3rd time after that. And the 1974 version was different than the 1955 version, and so on and so forth. So, you know, I guess what I'm saying is that sometimes difficult subjects can be written in such a way that it can be commercial. And by commercial, I mean that it has an audience. You know, we were talking earlier about actors making money. I love acting. I love doing theater. I do it for free, or I prefer to be paid for it. But if I'm not being paid for it, I'll do it for free because I love just the artistry of it. And you know, sometimes characters we play are not necessarily sympathetic characters, but sometimes those are the most interesting characters to play. Diana Bourbano, which I think you know, who was a Colombian playwright who I think recommended you to a lot of the Latinx actors here in Charlotte.
Yeah, her, yeah.
Yeah, she wrote a play called Ghost of Bogota, which she did here in Charlotte, which was spiritual realism, you know, and I played, this was about Colombian Americans raised in the United States, but being from Colombia, going back to Colombia for their grandfather's funeral. And their grandfather was, the character that I played was a ghost who had molested them all as a child and had been a pedophile, and he just refused to die because he didn't want to go to hell. And this was not me, you know, this is not who I am as a person, but it was probably the most interesting character I ever played, just because, as you said, was such a complete opposite of me. And there was a lot of evil in the man, but what was interesting about it is that typically I like applause and I like people laughing at my jokes, you know, when I do a play, like Ray Codigan is a funny part.
Mm-hmm.
This play, nobody was nobody was wishing me well at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were cheering for me when the play ended, but it was definitely the most interesting character I played.
You know, first of all, by hearing that story, kids who were from Panama but raised in America, going back to Panama. I mean, not Panama. My bad, Alex. Colombia.
Yeah.
We're going back there to bury somebody and whatnot. That is putting an idea of kids who are black kids going back to Africa to take care of something ancestral and stuff.
I want to credit them. All right. If you write this play, I want to say partially inspired by something, Ricardo Taylor Rivera told you.
You'll get that, and you'll get your $3 of $3 royalty.
Okay. It's a buyout. Gotcha.
But excuse me. You know what bugs me about commercialization? Everybody does the same thing, and everybody plays it safe, right? I don't like playing it safe. By me being a black playwright, putting up a play called Aprenda Español, that in itself is not playing it safe. To me.
Right.
Yes.
What I did with my first play that I put up, Time, all the language that I said in there and stuff that I put in there, that wasn't playing it safe. I do not believe in playing it safe. I don't go for, okay, this is going. Okay, there's a scripture I forgot where it's at. I think it's in the book of Matthew. I don't know everybody's beliefs, but there's a scripture where Jesus looks at all the 99. Looks at 99. I'm paraphrasing. Jesus talks about 99 sheep that were, and I'm going somewhere with this. 99 sheep who were saved, but he was more interested in that one unsaved sheep. It'd be great if 99 people came to my play, paid $20 to get in, sat back and had a grand old time. Commercially, financially, that'd be wonderful. But I care about that one person who may get something out of it. Because if you look at my plays, which are on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. YouTube, Adrian Quarles. Anyway, if you look at my plays, there's a lesson in all of them, right? And I just care about whoever may get something from it. Because, again, theater is educational. It's not just there to, make you laugh, give you something to do for like 2 hours on Friday night. No, it's educational, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Never drink coffee and a smoothie and water before doing the podcast. So sometimes in order to give you root substantive education in the theatrical piece, you gotta take risks. And one thing for sure about me, and Rick, you'll learn more about this as we go further into the rehearsal process. I believe in taking risks. Very much. Alex, when did you ever have when was your most when did you have to take like the biggest risk on stage other than Bent?
Ooh. Wow, that's a good question. Hold on, I'm trying to remember all the shows that I have done.
While you're thinking about that, I'll give you my biggest risk physically.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Yeah.
Now I want to point out right now, y'all ain't never, ever gonna see me in a dress ever again. I once put on silks. I once put on silks and a big old parachute, shave all my beautiful facial hair off, and portray Mother Ginger, the Nutcracker. No. Do not form that picture in your mind. I looked booty ugly. I looked uglier than someone who had 3 lazy eyes and only had 4 teeth in their mouth. I look every single type of ugly you could think of. But that's one risk that I'm taking. So, Alex, did you come over
Okay,
here?
I got something. It was it was kind of like a Halloween show.
Right.
It was called Strange City, and it was kind of like the first immersive show that I have ever done. And most people think that I'm an extrovert, but I'm an introvert. I think the risk for me is the fact that you're in a small space with all these people, kind of like, like a Halloween attraction. You have people coming in and out. And I was playing Edgar Allan Poe, Casa of Amontillado, I think. I was Montresor. The reason that I was taking, it was like the first time that I have ever done an immersive theater, and I'm not really comfortable with people that are not like, just the audience being like so up close to you, and you're trying to play somebody that just killed his friends, and it's just, just building a wall for them. So the reason that I took is try not to freak out every night to make it seem that I'm scary. It was uncomfortable at first because you're in such a tight space between people and try not to seem that you're scared, but I'm scared that somebody's just like, like 2 feet behind me. Obviously, it was a scary, spooky thing. And I have to work with like bricks all over the place. It was in downtown Raleigh for Sonoros Roads. And now I think I forgot the name of the theater now, but Pure Life. They're called Pure Life now. But yeah, that was the reason that I took, because I have never done an immersive theater itself like that, and it was risky for me because I got to a point during the performance that I have like 3, 4, 5 different people following me around, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. This is part of the entire show, but I'm feel so uncomfortable that I know you're following my character, not stalker or anything like that, but it's just as an actor, it took me out of my comfort zone completely. But I kind of got gratified when I pop up in another scene and I freak out somebody, but that was part of the job, not that I didn't want. Okay, I want to do it. I wanted to freak out somebody because I was already freaking out. But yeah, that was the risk that I took in my theater experience so far that I can remember.
Oh, that's a risk. You know what? I would have had to deal with. I would have experienced that with Much Ado About Nothing, because that's the way Goodly Frame Theater here in Greensboro is set up. So Richard, what's the biggest risk you've ever taken?
Well, every time I do a musical, I swear I'm not going to do another one. And the reason is I'm not a dancer, right?
Me neither.
But they always want you to dance. And
we're movers, Richard. We're movers. We move.
Yeah, well, and I can move. That's not a problem.
And you can move to a rhythm. Then you got
the first musical I auditioned for here in Charlotte was Oklahoma, because I had done it once, in high school years ago, and I wanted to do it again. And I told the director right off the bat, I don't make me give you a dance audition because I don't dance. And the director said, fine, no problem. This is like the second show I did here in Charlotte, I wasn't familiar with the theater, the cast, the director wasn't familiar with me, and they just offered me a generic farmer part because they wanted to make it multi-generational. They wanted to have kids, and as the play progressed, one of the leads got injured, and so then I got moved up to Court Elam. And then all of a sudden, the choreographer wanted me to dance. And he had me square dancing. And just the whole rehearsal process was nerve-wracking for me because I just, it's just, I want to be good at what I do. And I just don't think I'm good at dancing. But this was a very good choreographer. And so he got me to dance, and it was fine, so fine that next I auditioned for Fiddler on the Roof, same choreographer. I was playing a rabbi there, but he got me to do the go scene. It wasn't actual, it wasn't ensemble dancing, but again, it's choreographed movement. But every time I've had to do a musical, I've always swear, and I've done 4 now. So, I keep saying I'm not going to do another one, but then, 1776 comes along. And, but that's always been frightening to me, and it's a risk to do it. The other thing I want to say is one of my very first auditions, I was asked to improv. And I wasn't used to that, and it freaked me out when someone just asked me to, improv something. I've since taken improv classes, and and I thought that was a real valuable experience, because to be an actor, you have to let down your walls and just let yourself go. And I can do that, and I can sing, so it's okay with musical theater, but I'm still scared of dancing. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. So before I asked Steven what was his biggest risk, so I have not been in a musical since 2017, and I miss it. I want to be in another musical so bad. Would y'all like to know the musicals that I've been in up until this point?
Sure.
Yes.
Y'all wanna know? You wanna know, Steven? Y'all wanna know? Okay. Here's the musicals that I've been in. Damn Yankees. Seussical. Back to the 80s. I did a solo, Love Shack. I got me a car that's big as a whale. Let's see. Dang, I'm thinking. Sheesh. I'm sorry, my brain's acting 35 right now. Let's see. Annie, get your gun. There's no business like show business. What else? The Music Man. Okay, so the Traveling Salesman, they were like, talking to a rhythm, talk to a rhythm, to a rhythm. Me, I was rapping. He's just a bang, beat, bell ringing, big hole, great gold nigga, another rip roar, every time bullseye salesman. Anyway, I was also in Fiddler on the Roof. L'Chaim. What else? Came here. When I moved here to Greensboro, I was in Godspell, right? Richard, would you like to know who I played in Godspell?
Jesus.
I should have been Jesus, but no, I was your most favorite president ever.
Richard Nixon.
Not even close. Let's put it this way. Okay, so 2 girls were sitting on stage. They had their knees across from each other, and they had their arms up for me to sit on them when I was supposed to sit on the chair, but that was their idea, whatever. Another girl, was sitting at the bottom of a table with a sign up. I sat down with the biggest scowl on my face like this. And then she flipped up the sign, and it said Trumples. And I had a crazy wig on, and I just did this. You're fired. The audience roared in laughter. Hey, the director, Brian Conger, said during the table read, who will feel comfortable playing Donald Trump? I raised my hand so big. And he said, wow, that would be really funny, a black guy playing Donald Trump.
complete disclosure here, Alex and Stephen. Richard Nixon and Donald Trump are not my favorite presidents. Just.
Oh, they're not mine either. I
Okay.
just kind of went like silent because I'm like, why are we talking about this, man? Can we change the topic about this, man?
Because he was
Let's not even go there.
because the caricature of him is in
Mm.
Godspell.
That's okay. That's why you just skip it
Fine.
right through.
So
Yeah,
moving
you just
on. I was in another Sondheim. I was in another Steven Schwartz musical. Right after that, working off on a delivery, but my son was Brother Trucker. After that, I was in Daggone. After that, I was in Annie, and then Barnum. And I haven't been in any other musicals since then, and I miss it. But hey, it was very risky singing solos because I used to think that my singing was dog crap, right? But apparently that wasn't true because I was that, you're never fully dressed without a smile. So Steven, what is like the biggest risk you taking on stage?
I'll I'll answer this question in a different way. I'll tell you, doing theater itself here is a huge risk. That's the biggest risk. You never know that you'll be sabotaged, you'll be lynched, anything can happen over here. And especially in the last 6 years, it has been very difficult to do theater, to be vocal about anything, especially doing political plays on sensitive issues and everything. It has been very difficult. So that itself is the biggest risk, let alone the other small or other kind of, there has been different kind of challenges on stage and everything. But over here, I'll tell you that doing theater itself, breathing itself has been the biggest risk.
I want to ask a question about that, and if your answer will get you in trouble, you don't have to go into detail. But if you were to like do political theater, could that like have governmental eyes looking at you?
Of course, of course. The institution is looking at you, your family is looking at you, and then there can be mobs on the roads who are looking at you, who are the most frivolous kind of people who can do anything, and you never know.
Well, you know what, man? My hat's off to you for going out there and telling the truth as you see fit. Because you see, here in America, we like to think that we have freedom of speech, but we use whatever freedom of speech we do. We criticize our governmenting officials all the time. You know what I'm saying? Frivolously, all the time. I know that there's countries where you can't do that, right?
Yeah.
So if that's the case over where you're at, but you're still, you're still using your voice to carry out stories and stuff. I say rock on, and from here from North Carolina, you definitely got our support.
Thanks.
No problem, man. Hey, theater, we are a big, large, huge theater family. Now,
Yeah.
we're a theater family from coast to coast, from sea to shining sea. Now, as we start to wrap up here, unfortunately, Javetta and Lindsay have not been able to join us. Crazy thing about Lindsay is she's almost like my exact twin because she's like 2 days younger than I am. September 1st, September 3rd, her. It will be great to talk to her, but we'll get her in another time. Javetta, we're going to have to get her in another time because I think she has a wonderful story to tell. But as we start to wrap up here, Stevie, what does the future hold for you?
What's
What does the future hold for you?
future of the world?
No, the future. What does the future hold for you?
Oh, what does the future hold for? Oh, oh, it's uh, it's theater then, where anything can happen, and it will be driven by conflicts.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
I'm saying that if you're asking this question, then the future will be like theater, and it will have unprecedented things and many kind of emotions, which will be driven by conflicts.
Gotcha. Wonderful answer. Wonderful answer. Um, Alex, same question. What does the future hold for you?
Um, more auditions, more auditions. Shows coming up. I have a show that hopefully next year it will happen. Um, yeah. So hopefully you can come and see it whenever that comes up.
Well,
So,
we're seeing
and
something.
the show is Shrek the Musical. So Shrek the
Playing
Musical
Donkey?
2021. We'll see when.
What are you
I
playing?
wish my friend's playing Donkey, and I hate him right now, but it's okay. No, I'm playing the White Rabbit, Dulag person, a Gar, and a Knight. So I'm in like 6 different scenes or something like that.
Lots of costume changes.
We were gonna. Oh gosh, yes, man, I was wow. I'm excited about the challenge though, but hopefully we could, depending on with this whole COVID thing and the guidelines, hopefully we can go back to it. So 2021, that's the future
Yeah.
so far for me. So
Well,
we'll see.
okay. And Richard, what's the future hold for you?
Well, this COVID thing has really,
Yeah.
put a big question mark in what's going on. This is definitely a crossroads year right now. I'm going to be doing a dramatic reading in November called Aprender Español. Maybe you've heard of that,
Sounds familiar.
which can be coming up, written by Adrian Dion Quarles.
Oh yeah, watch out for that guy.
Also,
Oh yeah, what's the day? What's the day again? I'm sorry. What's the day?
November 6th, I think it is. And I'm
Oh,
also
okay. Thank you.
doing a trailer for a mini series called Solomon, where I'm playing a Mississippi 80s era fire chief, which is also a biracial play, which I'll be doing in November. And been doing a lot of dramatic readings. We have a lot of people here that just do a lot of Zoom readings of a lot of different plays, and I'm just trying to keep my skills up until this whole thing passes, and hopefully we'll go back. Very involved in Theater Charlotte here. Also involved with a few other companies. So we're just waiting to see what the future holds. In the meantime, just doing this kind of stuff and trying to keep my skills up. And as long as there's old guys to play, I'll be there to play 'em. Yeah, I'm actually very young for my age, but anyway,
Richard,
mature.
Richard, I assume that Alex and Steve. I know Alex is younger than me. Steven, how old are you?
I'm 24.
24. Okay, you're the
24.
youngest one. Theater. When you're in theater, you're ageless. You know what I'm saying? You don't age. You just don't. You're young forever when you're in theater.
That's why we call it plays. We play.
Exactly. And playing heightens the spirit and whatnot, and just keeps you going. So
It's never too late to have a happy childhood.
exactly.
Very true. Very true.
See, Richard, you just throwing out gems right now. So
Yes.
Thank you.
So my future, I'm just throwing it out there. And I'm gonna be throwing it out on every episode. Number one, I got this reading going up on November 6th, 8 o'clock.
What's it called, man? What's it called?
It's called Learn Spanish, but it's translated in Spanish. Aprenda Español. Yeah. Dope cast, incredible cast. I think you may be somewhat familiar with it, Richard. Um, but yeah, it's going up November 6th, 8 p.m. Zoom and YouTube. It's the third play that I've released to the world. I'm very excited about it because I'm taking a risk with it. I said, hey, I'm a black dude. I know black stories and whatnot. I'm stretching myself. Let's see if we can get some Latino stories up in this, some Latinx stories up in this mug. So I got that going on. I am going to continue to push to make ADQ's Renaissance the dopest podcast in the history of the world. Um, I'm pushing to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I only have 32. Please like, comment, subscribe.
And share.
And share. Don't sunny it, share it. What else do I got going on? Just writing, man. Just writing, participating in whatever readings and plays I could get my hands on. Like you said, Rick. Just staying sharp. Trying to read the August Wilson book, the August Wilson play, 7 guitars, and memorize some monologues and stuff. So yeah. But one thing that we have all learned from this, one thing that we can all learn from this conversation, be a dramaturg. You know, you may not have the position, but you definitely have the task when you're going into the show. Know the background of your character. Being in theater is not just, hey, I got a script, let me learn these lines. It's way more than that. It's all about the work. You have to do the work in order to give a full-fledged, feasible performance. Not only that, but I think also take risks. This man is taking risks telling substantive stories in his homeland of India. We all have taken risks in one way or another. Playing a Nazi and you are Panamanian and black, that's a risk right there. Definitely. So take risks. Don't be afraid to take risks. Forget about the commercial value. Go for the artistic value. That's what I believe in. So I'm gonna go down the line of y'all again. How can people contact you if they want to read your play if they want to cast you, if they want to work with you in any medium, how can they contact you? Steven, you first.
My email, they can contact me through Facebook. They can find me on Facebook with my name, Stephen S. George. Otherwise, the easy method is to contact me through the email, which is Steven, STEVENSG96 @gmail.com. And yeah,
Alex,
that's
Alex, how can people contact you?
They can contact me on my website. If you go to alexlightup.com, and you could just click the link to my other social medias in there.
Gotcha. Richard, you.
I'm on Facebook, Richard J. Taylor, or rick.taylor9@aol.com.
Okay, and if you want to contact me, my email is adq4christ@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram as DionChocolateGod85. I'm on Twitter as AvenueADQ_85. And I'm on Facebook. I mean, we're Facebook Live right now, so if you don't know how to spell my name, you really need to get the back of your neck. You know, go punch yourself in the chest 3 times. But I'll just go ahead and spell it since this is going audio later on. ADRIANDIONQUARLES. Please don't call CIA on me. Fellas, one day one day y'all will get to learn the incredible story of Miss Javetta Milton. But you know, car trouble happens. You know, we just roll with the punches and stuff. But I really do hope that all y'all get a chance to work with her in the future. She's incredible. Lindsay, I hope to go out to California and work with her in some way. She's also a dramaturg. But other than that, thank y'all very much for your time. And remember, Aprende Español, November 6th, 2020, 8 p.m. YouTube and Zoom. Check it out. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add before we clock it out for the evening?
Now you just gotta say that in Spanish. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Rick.
Vengan todos a ver Aprender Español el día 6 de noviembre de 2020 en YouTube, a donde se divertirán mucho. Es todo.
Love it.
Great.
Love it.
Órale, Jones, ponte trucha que ahí viene la júrese.
I have no idea what he just said.
That's
I know. I know what he said. This is great. Oh.
Oh yeah. Also, another thing real quick. Tomorrow night, I may be doing a coverage of the debate. Do my own little commentary on the debate. Thinking about it. We'll see. Now, I want to say this real quick before we go. Republicans, be nice to Democrats. Democrats, be nice to Republicans. Let's all play nice. Because speaking as an independent, I think all y'all tripping. My opinion. Anyway, I'm ADQ. This has been ADQ's Renaissance. Thank you, Steven. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Rick. Thank you all for watching. And yo, we'll holler at y'all next time. Deuces.